When I look back at my career, when I look back at my life, it's always been about one thing, and that's bringing people together. And now, more than ever, Vancouverites need to come together.
Vancouver politics. Wow, where do we start? If you haven't been following the news lately, the landscape of municipal politics has been changing quickly. And it all centers around our friend Kareem Allam. Karim is not an elected official yet, but he's quickly becoming a household name. His story is complicated. Let's jump in, starting with some background on Karim.
I've always really enjoyed politics. I really enjoy engaging with people, and I really love policy. I'm actually a policy dork. That passion for policy is what drives me to be involved in politics, but not as much as the passion for people.
I met Karim when I was running for National Chief of the Assembly of First Nations in 2018. We clicked very quickly, and we've been friends since.
I've known Karim for over 20 years now. I think Karim knows half of Vancouver. He loves the city.
I was born in Vancouver, and I grew up in Richmond. I eventually moved back to Vancouver later in my 20s when I started going to university. I played almost every sport that I could play. I enjoyed it, made a lot of great friends. The foundation of what I learned in sports has really been helpful to me in terms of team building. Really just interesting learning about team chemistry, team dynamics.
As Canadian residents and citizens, it's easy to take peace for granted. But hatred, war, and personal trauma is never far from our doorstep. And Karim's family, like so many others, was shaped by international conflict.
My mom's family's Egyptian, but they lived in Sudan. In the late 60s, there was a communist revolution. My family fled. They were in a refugee camp in Lebanon, and it took about a year and a half, 2 years for the papers to clear to come to Canada. My dad immigrated to Canada from Egypt. He was a lieutenant and fought in the 1967 war against Israel. In 1973, he was a colonel and was captured and spent 11 months as a prisoner of war. The sacrifice that he made and the sacrifice that Israeli soldiers had made were critical to creating that lasting peace that Egypt and Israel has. He impressed upon me again and again and again, protect that peace at all costs. In these difficult and challenging times, it's really easy to forget how hard peace is to construct and how easy peace is to deconstruct. And that frame of knowledge, that frame of his experience really guides me. My vision for this city is a united vision. It's a city where we all work together. It's a city where we don't shout down the others. It's a city where the richest and the poorest are working together. I know there's a lot of things that divide us today, but there's a lot of things that bring us together that are worth celebrating.
Professionally, Karim has been involved in public policy for over 20 years, including time in the private sector as a civil servant and working directly in partisan politics.
I went to work for Fraser Health in support of the construction of the Royal Columbian Hospital. 5-6 years after I left, I was appointed to the board of directors of the Fraser Health Authority. It had a $4.4 billion budget, 30,000 employees, dealt with some fairly significant policy issues. The day after the Royal Columbian Hospital project was announced, I took a job with the Vancouver Board of Trade. 1 in 12 jobs in the Lower Mainland are connected to the transportation sector. Getting cars off of highways means we allow more space for trucks, and that efficiency helps make our port more productive. The more cars we get off of roads, the more efficient our airport also becomes. So really having a good understanding of transportation, how that relates to cities, and how it relates to jobs, and how it relates to housing was something that I picked up at the Board of Trade. I realized early on that to have the most amount of impact on the public policy process was to join a political party. And you join a political party that aligns with your values. My values have always been consistent. I've always believed in the great Canadian promise that we build a world-class economy with wage equity that generates wealth to pay for world-class social programs. I also believe in the other Canadian promise that protects individualism, self-identity, and self-expression.
A few years ago, Karim found someone who he thought shared his vision for what Vancouver could become, Ken Sim. Karim agreed to manage Ken's campaign for mayor under the banner of a new civic party, ABC Vancouver. ABC was successful beyond their wildest expectations. Every single person who ran under the ABC banner was elected. It was the largest political victory in Vancouver history. As campaign manager, Karim was widely credited for crafting policies and messaging that reflected the concerns of Vancouver citizens. But beneath all the success and headlines, deep divisions had opened up inside ABC.
I was very surprised after the ABC campaign. I found out that Karim is going to work for Ken as chief of staff. I was shocked about that because I thought, no, Karim, you could be a politician yourself.
The last election, I felt that the biggest issue here in the city of Vancouver was how divided as a city we were becoming. I thought I was being drafted to work on a campaign last election that was going to end those divisions, that was going to uplift the voices of each corner of our city and not divide it.
Sometimes you think you're working with a person and you have a lot in common and you try to make them successful, and then you find out that they're not who you thought they were. And I'm helping someone who is not doing what they were promising to do.
That lack of commitment to uniting the city was what started to create the divisions between Ken and myself.
The bottom line is we were going to make people's lives better, and that's not what's happening. And I think that's what happened with Karim. He couldn't associate with what was happening. He had to leave.
On February 6, 2023, after only 3 months as chief of staff, Karim parted ways with Ken for good. Karim may have left the mayor's office, but he never stopped listening to the people of Vancouver, never stopped thinking about the changes we need here to make people's lives better. And very quickly, he became one of Ken's biggest critics. He wasn't alone.
So why are you choosing to speak out now? Because you left the mayor's office about 2 months prior to all of this, right?
I committed that we would not decamp Hastings without the appropriate housing. I feel a tremendous amount of remorse for making that comment and having it not be true, and that's why I'm here today. And I'm not happy with the direction ABC has taken since I've left. You've got businesses closing in Chinatown. You've got businesses closing in the Punjabi market.
You might think it's important for a mayor and councillors to be present at council meetings, especially when votes are taking place. But it turns out, at least in Vancouver, hundreds of motions have been voted on without the mayor there.
Vancouver's Integrity Commissioner has ruled that Mayor Ken Sim and his ABC Vancouver colleagues broke the code of conduct.
A new report from the city's Integrity Commissioner has found Mayor Ken Sim and his ABC colleagues have been predetermining council business out of the public eye.
For former ABCers say Ken Sim fooled them.
He was the one that convinced me I should run with him. And I still feel like an idiot for believing him.
Your party comes into power, into city council, and you say, you know what, Vancouver, we're not going to be a living wage employer anymore. And despite the projection of a 7 to 8% property tax increase, you and your council increased property taxes by almost 11%.
The net outcome of ABC's performance in the last 3 years is this. We've seen a budget that has ballooned by $600 million a year. We've seen additions and growth in the deficit that we're accruing on our sewer and our pipeline systems. We are seeing strife with our workers when they got rid of the living wage. But more importantly, we're seeing young people vote with their feet, walk away from the city, and set up roots somewhere else. To me, this is existential. We need to reverse this trend of poor government that ABC has left us with these last 3 years.
Vancouver, whether by birth or by choice. For those who live here, it's home. In fact, the one thing we all have in common is our beautiful city here on the edge of nature. It's where we want to be. By now, our problems are familiar, but perhaps in looking for a solution, we will find something new.
One of the things that makes Vancouver really special and attracts young people here is nature and our symbiotic relationship with the environment. There's no single bigger issue for this younger generation than climate change. But let's also not forget that it's becoming a real big problem for seniors, particularly as our summer months are getting longer and hotter.
Vancouver has the highest cost of living in our country, and I can see it really taking a toll on our generation. I grew up in the suburbs, and one trend you see is people actually moving farther out. They're moving farther out to other cities, or they're actually leaving the province entirely. Something I'd like to see is more of these people being able to stay in Vancouver.
I'm born and raised in Vancouver, Canada. I left for 10 years. It was important for me to come back and live back in my hometown. As a student at UBC, we're really worried that Vancouver just doesn't have the options that other cities in Canada have.
When you look at the current leadership, I do have concerns about the direction Vancouver's going in, and I don't think we need another term like that. If the existing parties aren't giving us what we need, it's time for a new party.
Vancouver Mayor's former chief of staff has launched a new political party ahead of the 2026 civic election.
He's positioning the new party as center of the road.
I intend to have people further left of me and people further to the right of me running with me.
Allam left his position at City Hall only a few months after Sim came into power.
He says the party's main goal to create a platform that attracts young people back to the city.
We started a new political party, and we called it the Vancouver Liberals. We looked around at what exists there in the city of Vancouver for municipal political parties, and we didn't like what we were seeing. We were struggling to see a political party that had a common sense approach to building housing and a thoughtful approach to creating jobs and a get-it-done attitude in terms of enhancing services.
The Vancouver Liberals, that core concept behind it is to bring people from the Conservatives, from the Liberals, from the NDP, to come with the best ideas. We need ideas from all sides of the political spectrum. We've got people from all ages, all backgrounds, all communities, and we really need to bring people together that, may not want to be in the same room together, but that will produce the best outcome.
Vancouver, more than ever, needs unity. Vancouver Liberals care about young people looking for work. We care about seniors. We care about working people and their families. And we care about people who are struggling to make ends meet. And we're going to help them by building homes and creating jobs and enhancing services. If I'm elected mayor, there will be a new rule at City Hall. If things at City Hall are currently being done that doesn't help those four groups, we're just not going to do it anymore.
Providing good governance is hard. There's no doubt about that. Campaigning and being a candidate, it's not an entry-level position. People need to bring some experience.
Ask anyone. Vancouver is at a crossroads. People are worried about their future, and they should be. But there are reasons to believe that Kareem Allam and the Vancouver Liberals are a breath of fresh air. They're ready to do things differently here in Vancouver.
One thing I've observed and really value about Kareem is even with all these changing circumstances, he remains driven by his values, by his beliefs. He'll work to understand your point of view. He'll share his, and he'll look for solutions. That's why I think he'd be a good mayor, because Kareem very much includes people, listens to them, and works to find out the way forward together.
Kareem is so committed to this cause that he has started working already, and the election is not for another 15 months from now. He's doing an incredible job of meeting so many people who live in Vancouver. In the last 2 months, he's met with over 500 people. He's met with people in Gastown, Mount Pleasant, Fairview, Fraserview, West End, Marple, Falls Creek, everywhere.
When I look at who I vote for, I'm looking for somebody that has a plan for housing, that has a plan for cost of living. And I want someone that cares about youth in Vancouver. I want someone that's going to make sure that jobs in Vancouver stay in Vancouver.
We have a city hall that's obsessed with one thing. That's winning awards. Winning international design awards in Monaco, in Tokyo, in Paris, in New York. The only award that I want in the city of Vancouver is I want young people to come back to this city. We need a mayor and we need a council in the city of Vancouver that's going to stand up to criminals. Bitcoin is how international drug cartels operating here in the city of Vancouver are moving large quantities of money around. A Vancouver Liberal government will begin to unwind the Vancouver Building Code and just adopt the BC Building Code, which is adopted everywhere else. The number of white-collar civil servants that do nothing more than manage other managers at City Hall, the Vancouver Liberals will cancel this City Hall campus project and earmark all those dollars for parks, community centers, and new swimming pools.
Kareem demonstrates on a continual basis that his priorities are to serve and do the best that he can for the citizens of Vancouver.
He works tirelessly, he walks his talk, and I think that's going to serve the people of Vancouver very well with Kareem Allam as their new mayor.
I love Vancouver. I love this place more than any other on this earth. I'm really motivated to do a good job if I'm lucky enough to be elected as your mayor. So let's go out there from now and every day till Election Day and fight for every single vote.